what's happening, what's going on, part of my presence YouTube channel. Look, I'm just trying to survive the week and mind my own business, trying to get over this cold. And I came across this story regarding LeBron James. Now, at first I thought it had to do with Bronny James' son and his cardiac arrest. But then as I further got into the story, I realized this is about LeBron James' school, the I Promise School in Akron, Ohio. Apparently, what's happened is that in the past 3 years, their 8th graders have failed to pass the state math tests. Now, with my limited education, my GED, it didn't click to me what that meant. I thought it meant that these 8th graders have taken this test 3 times in a row and they failed. And I thought to myself, well, how is it that they failed 3 years in a row when you're only in grade 8 for 1 year? What's going on here? But then it clicked to me. It finally clicked that no, this is not the same set of 8th graders. This is in the past 3 years. So 3 sets of 8th graders, they've all failed these statewide math tests. Now, these tests are standardized tests. They're tests that are taken to kind of gauge the educational levels of students on a state level. They also have them in Canada as well too, at the provincial wide level. And the whole purpose is to kind of gauge where the students are, but also to check the performance of the schools. They kind of rank to see, which school is more successful in making sure that the students are either retaining the knowledge when it comes to English or language, or when it comes to their aptitude in regards to mathematics. So keep in mind, even though this is a damning report that they failed 3 years in a row, this is not a shot at LeBron James, because LeBron James is not a teacher. He's just a financier of the school. And if you look at the numbers, LeBron James Foundation, they've given $1.4 million to the school. So the school is not suffering from a lack of resources, a lack of funding, or a below standard budget. No, they have all the money in the world to provide the best resources, to provide the state-of-the-art facilities, and to hold no punches when it comes to making sure they have the best teachers available and paying a competitive salary. So the obvious question is, what the hell happened with this school and why are they not able to meet the standardized requirements? So I want to read this article. This article is from CBS Austin, and I'll just read it verbatim here. It says, not a single 8th grader at LeBron James's I Promise School in Akron, Ohio has passed state math tests in 3 years, according to data presented at a local school board meeting. The school, which instructs low-achieving students in grades 2 through 8, previously received $1.4 million from the LeBron James Foundation, its parent organization. Despite abundant resources, the school has not been able to meet state benchmarks. Now, before I continue, it does pretty much give us some insight as to what's going on. This is not a regular school. And when I say regular, I don't mean that the fact that LeBron James is involved and they're getting a lot of funding. I'm meaning that this school takes in low achieving students from grade 2 through 8. So not to cast a negative doubt or light on these kids, but these are not high achieving kids. These are not kids with high marks. These are most likely problem children or children who suffer from learning disabilities and haven't been able to receive the proper resources to help them throughout their educational or academic career. So already it's a challenge to get these kids up to par on the state level in regards to education. So already they're working from a lower than average position. So that should be noted. Now, I'll continue. It says here in quotes, for 3 years, not one child passed a state math test. Not one for 3 years. So this is the school board member, Valerie McKitrick. She asked a review of she reviewed the test data from 2022 to 2023 year. She goes on to say that it's discouraging, and the fact that we had said all along this journey was going to be difficult because we're starting with kids who are 2 years or more behind. So like I said, this has to do with the fact that it's not an average school. They deal with kids who have problems and difficulties, all right? They're taking the kids that probably no one wanted or were expelled from regular school, and these kids need help and need to get back to where they should be on the right educational level. Okay, it goes on to say that board president Dr. Derek Hall said the results do not match the amount of resources the school has at its disposal. He goes on to say that I believe the pandemic has an impact, but it also has an impact on the non-selected kids as well. And the numbers that we're seeing here would suggest that my non-selected kids who don't have the same number of resources are actually performing better. And I'm just trying to understand why. I think it's fair to ask that question. Now, what he's referring to is the fact that you would think in this case, if the pandemic was an issue, it would impact all types of kids, not just the kids who were selected for LeBron James School, but kids on a statewide level at regular schools, charter schools, private schools. But that's not the case. What he's saying is that there seems to be more directed, or at least the failures are more directed towards LeBron's I Promise School, which is odd because, again, none of those other schools match in comparison when it comes to the resources. So it needs to be asked as to what is happening at this school that's causing kids to function and to operate at a below par or expected level. Now, it goes on to say that when the I Promise School started, one of the things I was excited about was I thought this school could be an incubator where ideas could come out of the school that we could take and then inject into operations of other buildings throughout the district. That's why, looking at the data, I am so disappointed. So pretty much they're saying that this school is supposed to be a shining example of what other schools in the region or state could do for their children, right? So in other words, it was a experiment to see whether or not if we, picked up kids from other schools that weren't doing well and provided this incubator around them, because from what I understand, this school provides employment for the parents, funding for the parents. It also gives a peace of mind with the fact that if they pass and graduate, they get their post-secondary education paid for. So the most of the economic issues or stress are removed from these families so that they're able to just focus on the school, knowing that they're going to be covered financially and also covered for many other issues throughout the academic career of their kids. So you'd think that with all of those problems removed, the stuff that keeps poor people up at night, the problems that keep people who lack the resources up at night, none of that is there. But yet still, they weren't able to compete and they weren't able to show that they could at least meet the expectations in their math exams, right? So it goes on to say that in the statement on the results of the foundation, LeBron's foundation, that is, said that it's dedicated to continue its work with the I Promise students. It goes on to say that when we started this work to wrap around students through education, we entered this partnership with the Akron Public School for a long haul. Because this work requires a long-term commitment, hard work, and a lot of love and care is required. Okay, it also goes on to say that this is why we bring each and every day, because I Promise School is more than the school. We're here for the ups and downs, and we'll continue to wrap around our students and their entire family so they could be successful in school and in life, no matter the challenges or obstacles that come their way. Okay, so again, this is not, even though it is a failure, this is not some type of situation where they're going to bail and they're going to abandon their strategies. They're going to continue. This is something that maybe they would have expected and they're going to continue to work on it, or they feel that this is not a quick fix. It's going to take some time. But at the same time, keep in mind, if this school takes in kids from grade 2 to grade 8, and 3 years of those generations of students have already failed, you don't have that much more kids to look at before you realize the entire school from its inception has been a wash. So again, when I look at it from a grand scheme of things, and when I look at the schools that my kids go to, the one thing I can say is that the way teachers are educating their kids now, it's odd, it's different. The way they teach math is completely different than how I learned math, as far as division, long division, multiplication. They don't do the times tables anymore. A lot of people think that learning based off memory is a bad thing, and you have to teach kids to understand it. But it's kind of hard to teach kids to understand multiplication for all of the digits from 0 to 12. So the best way to do it is through memorization, right? So again, I don't know why they feel differently. On top of that, from junior kindergarten to senior kindergarten, it's all play-based, which means that they don't focus on, education or sitting down at a desk or completing worksheets. They're more focused on educating the kids through play. Now, the problem with that type of Montessori style is that if it doesn't continue through grade 1 all the way up to grade 8, and it's just for the 2 years, then when they hit grade 1, it's going to be a rude awakening, because that type of play-based system doesn't continue, and they're going to be left in shock and having to adapt quickly to the fact that they're going to be stuck in their seats at a desk for many hours in the day, and they're going to have to learn many things sitting at that desk and not playing. So again, I don't think you could blame the kids for this. I don't think it has to do with technology or the kids are just dumber than previous generations. I think the issue with how they're teaching children and whether or not these teachers actually have the commitment to teach, or whether they care enough of their kids to teach, or whether or not they're able to have a breakthrough with their children, with their students, and be able to talk with them instead of at them, and whether or not they have the proper attitude to actually listen and hear their students out and teach them the correct way. I think a lot of times teachers are very condescending. They talk to their kids they talk to the students like their children. A lot of times they try to talk to the parents like their children as well too. And I find that teachers, they don't want to be shown to be wrong. They always want to be right. They always want to get the last word. They don't want to consider any other styles or methods. They only want to look at it from their point of view. And that can be very demoralizing for students, especially when there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to get the right answer. And when you are able to look at certain equations and problems and you can find different ways to solve things, that builds on students' creativity. That also opens up their eyes to the fact that there is more than one way to resolve things and answer things. And if you look hard enough and if you think outside the box, you could actually find them. And if they make more sense to you, then why not use those techniques to get the right answer? Because all in all, that is how you learn. That shows understanding. And that is what education is about and what aptitude is about. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward for the next 3 years. Are they still going to fail? Who knows? But it seems like math is a problem for kids across all schools, all boards, all states, all provinces. And it has to be at some point we realize that the issue is not the students, it's the curriculum and the teachers and their failure to get through to the kids and teach them the right way. You let me know how you feel about this. Do you have kids of your own? Do you find that they struggle with math? Do you try to teach them yourself at home? You let me know. Leave comments in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, part of my presence YouTube channel. Next move, best move. Peace.